So, are you currently navigating a dark night of the soul? Today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you one of the biggest keys to navigating a dark night of the soul, guarding your energy without burning bridges. Hello and welcome everybody. I'm your sweet and sour, full of power, purple water falling from the sky, violet rain freedom. I am your mental projector, motivational speaker, and spiritual life and business coach. So let's dive in. As I was sharing with you guys yesterday, I've had several dark nights of the soul, and these moments are debilitating. There's a form of identity crisis that happens. There is a lot of pain and struggle and confusion, and it can feel like there's no way out. Like you don't know how to move forward. If you're currently in a dark night of the soul, go ahead and put your favorite emoji in the comments. Just let me know. If not, you can private message me. It can be really vulnerable to admit. And these things can be brought on by divorce, by business failure, financial struggles, a move, like a big, huge change, leaving the religion of your origin. I know for me, when I left the church that I was raised in, I had a major and a massive identity crisis. There's my lighting. There's my lighting. That's what I've been wanting. Thank you very much. So, I just want you to know that you're not alone. And navigating a dark night of the soul can lead you into deeper and darker levels of bitterness, resentment, anxiety, frustration, depression. It can lead you into apathy and bitterness. And there are a lot of people that experience a dark night of the soul that never come back from it, that don't actually understand the way dark nights of the soul can be used as launch pads to what's next for you. And that is a tragedy in and of itself. Like you're already suffering. What if we could give this suffering meaning and help you shift it? But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. We're going to be talking more about that in tomorrow's video. So today I want to talk to you about guarding your energy. When you're going through a dark night of the soul, your energy is depleted. There's like a shrinking within yourself that is happening. And it is so critically important that during that time of a dark night of the soul, that you guard your energy more than ever. I had a friend that lost her husband several years ago, and he was young, and she had three young kids. And during that time, her entire network, her circle of friends and family got smaller and smaller and smaller. And this is by design. It naturally has to happen. If you've ever been through a dark night of the soul, you know what I'm talking about. There are just certain people that don't get it, that can't you meet you inside of that space. And you are too raw and too fucking sensitive to deal with people that are oblivious, to deal with people that are needing and wanting something from you when you're in the middle of grieving the loss of your child, or you're in the middle of trying to rebuild your life. And all they have is all the ways you're not showing up for them, all the ways you're letting them down, and you're so deep in your dark space of survival mode, you can't be there for them like you once used to be. And they're asking, demanding, expecting, and then being disappointed in their expectations not being met by you is just further proof that they don't actually get what you're going through. And they actually can't be there for you in this moment. And so those people are people that our relationships almost need to take a pause with. And I know the title of this video is like how to guard your energy without burning bridges. And what's important for me to say right here, like a disclaimer, is oftentimes the restructuring that happens after a dark night of the soul, certain relationships are complete. They've expired. They're no longer a fit. And some relationships can't see you through those dark nights of the soul. Like, even if you pause those relationships, they're not able to emotionally or mentally, in their level of maturity or advancement or whatever there's going on in their life, they can't hang with you anymore. And this doesn't have to mean a better than less than. This doesn't mean we have to judge these people. It's simply about having the wisdom and the willingness to admit when something is no longer fitting, right? It's like when we're kids and we grow out of that favorite shirt, right? It's like the shirt we got when we were 8 and now we're 12 and it like clearly doesn't fit at all. We can't even put it on, but we won't move it out of our closet, right? And it just sits there and sits there and sits there, taking up space, taking up room. And it ends up, instead of being like this cute memento, it starts becoming an energy drain and an energy leak. And when you are wanting to launch your life into a different space, when everything in your world, when life, universe, God, source, energy is restructuring, it's screaming at you that something needs to change. That's what dark nights of the soul bring on every single time once we dig into them deeply. we have to be willing to let certain people go. Now, that said, there are some people that are definitely going to be there on the other side of this. A lot of this can be family, right? Family is blood, and oftentimes we cycle back to our family. Maybe for your dark night of the soul, there is space from family that's needing to be taken in a more permanent way. It's different for everybody and in every scenario. But let's say there are certain relationships that you really think will be able to serve you and be there for you in a healthy way once you're on the other side of this. There are strategies and tactics for disconnecting and disengaging from those relationships without burning bridges in a bigger way. And I also want to say, though, too, is if you're dealing with severe, look, there's my lighting again. I don't know what's going on, guys. If you're dealing with severe, um, intensely emotional things, and you are also a people pleaser, and you also are driven by a lot of fear, and when you're in survival mode, you fawn and you want to people please people, this may be part of what the dark night of the soul is teaching you, is these boundaries, right? This is what I'm going to be doing with you guys in the Dark Night of the Soul coaching program that's open and available right now in honor of winter solstice, the darkest night of the year, where we start turning the wheel and we start heading back into brighter days. It's all very symbolic. That is why I have been channeling and feeling so called to launch this program right now, is to lean into what the energetics of the planet are saying right now, right? And we are entering winter solstice, and it is time to go into our dark and face it head on and begin to rebuild in the light. So this program is for people that are actively navigating a dark night of the soul. Maybe you've been in it a couple of years, maybe only 6 months. Maybe you're dealing with a divorce, or finding out about an affair, or a serious health condition that you didn't see yourself having to live with for the rest of your life. Whatever it is, a shift in your career that's causing this identity crisis, this deep, dark night of the soul, this program is for you. And if you're feeling called, I invite you to reach out and connect, and let's get started. Let's make this happen. And now is absolutely the time. So back to what we're talking about. You guys, navigating a dark night of the soul means that you have to recluse. You have to go inward, and you have to guard your energy. And if you're used to people pleasing, one of the tips, one of the strategies I want to invite you to use right now, if you don't want to make people in your space feel bad, is you genuinely make yourself too busy for them. Now, this isn't faking it. This isn't like, oh, I'm just sitting here scrolling on my phone and I'm lying and pretending I'm busy. You genuinely get to get yourself anxiously engaged in something that is healthy for you, having your time scheduled. And this is something we're going to go to in the program, because not having a schedule, not having a plan can perpetuate and prolong a dark night of the soul. It's balanced action of surrendering in to the emotions and the feelings, and also having a vision and an action plan moving out. You get to have both of these things, and it's a gentle dance. And that is why I'm here to help guide you through what that dance looks like. Because misapplying the wrong tool at the wrong time is like giving somebody, right, anti-nausea medication when what they're really needing is anti-diarrhea medication, right? I don't know why those are the examples that came to me. You're welcome for that. But if you misapply the wrong tool at the wrong time, you're going to get really shitty results. So this is why just trying to do things on your own without support or without guidance, when you're already recognizing that you're in a compromised place, can only make things harder and worse for yourself. So that's another big thing that I want to invite you to consider when it comes to guarding your energy, is finding a mentor, a coach, a guide, or a therapist. Like, if I'm not your cup of tea, that's totally fine. You're here hearing this from me for this purpose and this reason. You did not find this video by accident. You're here because you're meant to hear this guidance, that you are not meant to go at it alone. And so being really intentional and intuitive about who you call into your space to help guide you and guard you during this very sensitive period of your life is so essential and important. So get some guidance. Bring somebody online on board for you that can support you in this time. So be genuinely busy, be anxiously engaged in a good cause, right? So for me, what this looked like, one of my huge dark nights of the soul was after leaving my religion of origin. And this religion had taught me everything, like my entire foundation of like what I did before I was born and what I was going to do after I was born, and how I should live this life, and who I should marry and how I should marry them, and how I should raise my kids, and what my career should be, and all of these things were defined by this religion. And so when that was gone, it was like a bulldozer went through the entire foundation of my life. And I was feeling so like unstable and insecure. It was this massive identity crisis for me, and I wasn't sure what to do. So, one of the things that I realized at that time was that I had a friend that when I would be around this friend, it would consistently pull me into more confusion about my identity. The minute I would start figuring out something that I wanted to do, there was like kind of this negative naysayer crab in the bucket energy. And I was like, man, this is so hard. What do I do? And I asked my coach at the time because I had a coach and I was smart and I got support. I said, what do I do about this friend? Because we hang out every day, all day. And what she said was, she said, be busy, be busy. And genuinely busy. Like, just don't have time to hang out and mean it. And vibrationally, it was amazing what happened. Like, I made this decision and I made myself too busy. And it wasn't like they just kept calling and calling and calling. She didn't do that. There was like this energetic shift. And it was like just this natural going away from, like trees dropping their leaves. It wasn't like this big fight or force. And again, your energetics have a lot to do with this, but I decided to start writing my book. I started planning my days. So I was a work at home mom. I had two little kids and I just started planning my days. It was like from this time to this time I'm working out. And then from this time to this time I'm writing in my book. I wrote every day in my book for this certain length of time from this time to, and it was when the nanny came, right? And then from this time to this time I'm doing a meditation and my kids are napping or whatever it was. And I structured out this schedule where I was genuinely too busy to hang out. I didn't have any empty, weird gaps of like, wanting, or needing to fill my time with something. And this is just a hack for you. This is a tool for you to fill your life full of things that make you unavailable for those people if you're dealing with people pleaser patterns, right? If you deal with people pleaser patterns, please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear. I'm a recovering people pleaser as well, as surprising as that can be for people. We all have a different way that we respond to stress. And one of the things that keeps us small in our life is that need for approval, that need for people to like us, to agree with us, and it will keep us being disconnected from our truth and disconnected from our gifts and our purpose more than anything else in the world. Good. Okay, so the next step for guarding your energy is to be very honest with people. And a lot of people aren't going to be able to meet you in your vulnerability, and these are things you're going to take note of for the future. If someone can't honor what's going on and doesn't recognize that you're needing space or you're needing time, then this is going to be part of the people that truly have to be culled from your life. Like, they have to be pruned away. And this is going to happen naturally. You're not going to have to like burn a bridge or cut somebody off. Rarely does that happen. Occasionally we have to come in with hard boundaries. And again, that's a case by case basis. But essentially, you're going to be really vulnerable. You're just going to be honest and you're just going to say, hey, right now I am going through such a dark period in my life. And like, I am really needing to withdraw in. And I'm not saying this because I don't love you or appreciate you or I don't miss you or I don't care about our friendship or our relationship. I'm saying this because I'm really seeing that I have to focus on getting my life figured out, on getting my stuff together for myself, in myself. Now, if this person is toxic, they're going to challenge you on that. They're going to push your boundaries on that. If this person is is operating, I shouldn't say a toxic person, healthy person. If this person has toxic patterns when it comes to supporting people through their own emotions, they're going to be pushy and they're going to question it and they're going to try to bump up against your boundary. If this is somebody that has a healthy patterning for helping someone deal with navigating a dark night of the soul, they're going to say something like, thank you so much for telling me. Is there anything else I can do to support you? What does this amount of space look like for you? I don't want to like abandon you during this time, but I'm wanting to see like how often would be helpful for me to check in. Because see, I've been in dark nights of the soul that were so bad that somebody checking in on me, texting me or messaging me would actually bring up an entire new spiral of inadequacy, of I'm not good enough. I'm not showing up for them. I'm not doing this. What do I say? How do I show up the right way? And all of this pressure and all of this angst. And so a friend that can say like, how can I support you? What's the best way? Those are amazing friends. And those are friends and family and relationships that are going to be able to see you through really hard times in your life and possibly be there on the other side of this dark night of the soul. So the two big tips in today's video for helping you navigate relationships during dark nights of the soul is, first of all, be honest. Be like really, really honest about where you're at. This is so important. And the second thing is get yourself the type of support you need, a therapist, a mentor, a coach, a guide of some sort to help you through this time. So if this served you, please give me a comment below, share this out to someone else that this would be of service to. And I look forward to seeing you guys again tomorrow.